Sausage.
Hello. 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 Welcome. 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 To Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Krishnez, that's me, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This is episode 2 in my playthrough of Hi-Fi Rush. If you watched the first episode, which I'm assuming you have, because why would you watch the second episode without watching the first episode? Stranger things have happened. But if that happens to be you, I was not a fan of what I played in that first episode. And having now completed Hi-Fi Rush, I am even less of a fan than I was. There's not too much else to say about the game. It's not like there were drastic changes. My biggest takeaways are I'm surprised by how few licensed songs were actually in the game. I thought they were going to be just for the boss fights, but that wasn't even the case, unless I'm confused and some were so whatever that I didn't even realize there were licensed songs during some of the boss fights. But it felt like there were less than 5 overall in the entire game. There were 2 Nine Inch Nails songs, then some other song. We had the Lonely Boys, is that the name of the band, opening the game, but that wasn't associated with any gameplay.
Whoa, whoa, I got a love that keeps me waiting.
That song, which I enjoyed. I liked that song. But then it wasn't tied to any gameplay elements. It's just like, oh, you're delivering me story in this opening cutscene, having characters talk while this is playing in the background, and my brain is trying to listen to the song because I like the song and I want to sing along. So I'm too distracted to pay attention to this. What are you doing to me? Don't play this song when you're trying to do some exposition dump. But that was a surprise to me. I figured there would be not too many, but at least for every boss fight. Then, on the gameplay side, there is an element where you can store health in these, well, they're not vials, they're just little things under your health bar. You can purchase one in the store, and then maybe you could purchase 2 in the store, because I don't know how you would earn it outside of that. But it allows you to store health points, health vials, whatever they're called in the world, when your health is at max, so that if you at any point during the game, during a fight, lose all your health and die, you'll come back to life without having to redo any section. You won't lose any progress, basically. You're not starting from a continue, you're revived. And I think that's a good mechanic conceptually. However, it is weird in that you can only store the health points, or it's stored when you have max health. So it's essentially rewarding players who are so good at the game they never take any damage and therefore likely won't need that little cushion, that helping hand. So it seems like a system that is at odds with itself because it benefits the people who will most not need it. And that frustrated me. The gameplay never worked for me. It just never felt right. And it's weird because when I was thinking about it after the fact, I'm recording this much later after having finished the game because I kept forgetting, and now I'm recording it just because I know I have to do it. But I was thinking about how many action games have some kind of rhythmic element to their combat, where their combos may have some kind of rhythm to it, where it's hit, pause, hit, pause. There's some kind of rhythmic element to how you go about doing these attacks. And in those games, it works for me. But here, it doesn't, where it's specifically all about the rhythm and fighting on the beat. And I don't know if it's because it's entirely set up that way or what I don't know why it doesn't work for me. And that's in part because I really want it to work for me. I want it to work for me. I can't stress this enough, what I said in the first episode, but this is a gorgeous game. This is one of the most beautiful games I've played in a long time, maybe ever. I love looking at this game so much. The style, the animation, the personality that comes through, how lively all the animation is, and the expressions of the characters. Voice acting's great. The story was fine. It was good enough. I enjoyed, I forget her name, but the character who was on the bad side, who was clearly going to join your team. I enjoyed her. I don't love the switching of characters, support characters in the game, because I wish there was some way that you could just press a button for each of them as opposed to scrolling between them and then using them. But there aren't enough buttons to make that work, so I understand the reasoning. The only way you can make that work is if you could, but you can't customize controls to this granular of a level, at least not on console. But if you could use a lead controller or similar controller, scuff controller, and then for the back paddles, you assign one paddle to each of the support characters, that would be a really nice way of handling that system. But I didn't like that even with them, you have to do some kind of stupid little mini game or hit the thing to the beat, because it gets frustrating in elements where time is crucial, where you are running away and then you have to scroll over to your big dude to punch through a wall, and then you have to wait for him to get right in the sweet zone so that you can activate it so that he punches through the wall, and then if you miss it, you're fucked. You might as well just give up and let the game kill you, start over from where that section began, and stuff like that was frustrating, which is really just the entire experience. It was a very frustrating experience, both literally and emotionally, because I genuinely wanted to love the game. And it's stuff like this. It's my leaving of the game that makes me wonder how well the game did overall. I know a lot of people liked it. I was surprised to see how many people actually finished it when looking at the achievements. I think it might have been around a quarter? Maybe I'm overestimating or over-remembering. But it was more than I thought. I figured the amount of people who completed the game would be in the low teens at the very max, and I think it was higher than that. But I just didn't really jive with it. I wonder if it was a more focused game with better music to me, if the music spoke to me and it had more licensed music. Maybe that would make up for some of the deficiencies elsewhere. I was thinking a perfect band to make a game like this around would be Muse. I would be all in on a Muse game. And the way they could do it is have, instead of these incredibly long levels, because the levels are mostly 60 minutes-ish, or I could have just said an hour, but they're around there. I think there might be a few sections that are levels and shorter, but overall the levels are fairly long. And you can, when you finish the game, go back to collect things you couldn't otherwise or missed, but there are plenty of things that you couldn't get 2 until you unlocked all the support characters. So there's reason to go back and play through them. I did the first area and realized, man, these levels are long. And I think a more interesting way of handling it would be to make a game like Hi-Fi Rush that's only, I don't know, 3-4 hours. And I understand we're in a day and age where people just want more and more and more. They need more and more and more. Make it longer. Give me the biggest game ever. Which, if they do actually make a Hi-Fi Rush 2, please God, don't do that. Make it smaller. Make it shorter. Make it tighter. Because what I think could be a cool kind of way of handling a Hi-Fi Rush type game that is all music centric is to focus around, you can do multiple artists, maybe keep it to a certain genre, or take a single artist that you can work with on a more intimate level, like Muse, for example, and make essentially a video game album where your levels are on the shorter side, max, let's say 20 minutes, and you take a singular song and you build the level, build the experience around it, ebbs and flows. You can elongate certain sections, get instrumental for a bit, bring in the chorus, bring in the vocals for heightened moments, and then eventually just crescendoing with a fun-ass boss fight. But make it so that you have just singular levels that are based around one song, and then you have 12, 15 levels that are really good and tight and fun, and you can play around with the mechanics and have more unique levels. I think that'd be really cool. It might not make financial sense because the game might be short, but it might cost a lot to deal with the music, the licensed music of it all. And then you can't charge as much because it's on the shorter side. So there are a lot of factors that go into all of this. But it also cost, what, $30? Hi-Fi Rush? I can't remember. I got a code for it, much to my surprise, when it launched. But it's just such a disappointment. A sad disappointment. Sometimes, are there ever disappointments where I'm happy? I don't think so, so I don't know why I had to call it a sad disappointment. A disappointment is inherently sad. But yeah. The game was pretty doable and fine up until the final boss fight. I found that one a bit frustrating. Died a few times. I do appreciate that with the bosses, there are clear stages to all of the bosses where they will have a little moment, and then at those moments, the game gives you a checkpoint, so you don't have to completely do an entire boss fight over if you die during, which is nice. And when you respawn at whatever checkpoint you're at in a boss fight, you will respawn with full health, which is also nice. So there are plenty of ways the game makes it easier to get through, which is nice. But I just didn't end up enjoying any of my time with it. Love looking at it, but I did not love playing it. So that will do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Mark Krishnez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show and any of the stuff, or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, random drops, not so random in the future, of the name by the name, the Sausage Dump. That is going to be the home of new random stuff like tier lists and thoughts and whatnots. But also you get access to some fancy Discord roles, a private Discord channel, And this is where I would say random drops, but we already got that. We're reorganizing it. We're shuffling things around in addition to the new layout that will be coming to Attack the Backlog and potentially future other shows as well. But yeah, if you enjoy any of that stuff and want any of that stuff and you like my stuff and you want to support me, patreon.com/pxs, or you can just support me to support me if that is your fancy. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at Patreon. No. pxsausage.com. That is pxsausage.com. That'll get you links to the Patreon, the site. I said it already. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, people. I'm losing it. pxsausage.com. Links to everything that you could want and not want. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have both a wonderful... No, just shut up, Mark. This is not the Pixelated Sausage Show. This is Attack the Backlog. Just have a wonderful day, everyone, whenever you're watching this. But for now, adios. Arrivederci.
It's go time. Go, Daddy.